I had a really interesting conversation with Kathy Colby, the creator of the Colby A Index and the Colby Creative Method. And we had a great chat after the recording was ended. And if some of the listeners, a lot of you know me, you've been listening a while, and I thank you for that. And you may have an idea of who I am, but the one thing we both discovered, and she hinted in the episode as well, is that she fought her way through proving the Colby concept works well, and that Colby Index is a very good tool, and that she's a very strong woman, strong-willed, and she knows her stuff, which can be threatening and misunderstood a majority of the time. And then she said she's 84 at the time of recording, and during that time frame where she grew up and was an adult, it was very hard for a woman to be strong and resilient and stand up to the status quo of common thinking. So either way, we were talking about being rebel rousers, and she shared a couple stories. I shared a couple, and she says, yeah, I kind of figured we were kind of alike in that sense. And she said, I was a rebel rouser and caused problems. But what I turned it around was, I think it's not that we didn't purposely want to be rebels. It's just the label rebel was put on us because we weren't out to cause problems. The intent was not to just be a pain in the ass and be a problem. The intent was actually for me and for her, is that I was asking questions to understand and to broaden my learning. I wasn't there just to question authority, just to question it, I was asking questions to understand the reactions, the why, the reasoning. And a lot of people took that as an outright challenge, or what right do you have to question me, the teacher, the boss, the clergy, the politician, the police? I just wanted to understand all through high school, even elementary school, even university, well, actually my whole life. I just wanted to understand why things were happening and for what reason. And if I got a logical reason and explanation that made sense, I'd accept it. If it didn't, I would ask more questions and just understand. And it really got complicated when the affected, the feelings, the ego, the behaviors, now that was a conflict, or the person had to admit maybe they were wrong. Well, guess what? I'm a troublemaker because that person felt threatened or whatnot. And the point I'm trying to make here is it's all about searching for knowledge and understanding. And it was not intended to cause problems. It's just that's the way it was interpreted, or actually it's not the way it was interpreted. Well, they interpret it, but they always flip the table on me and then put that on me as being a rebel rouser. And why am I sharing this right now? I'm sharing this because as an ADHD entrepreneur, or period, any growth mindset entrepreneur, period, doesn't matter neurodiverse or not, we stand outside the norm. We're 5% of the population. 95% don't get us, why we would do this every day, and not have security on a job and a pension and all that. So we're already there. So when we change the way things are done so we can do it more efficiently, it's because we're questioning and understanding why things are done a certain way and it's not working for us. Therefore, we change the way and we have a business. So a lot of times we're labeled these because the other people are threatened by us, either because they're afraid to be, sometimes if not a lot of people like to admit they're wrong, therefore they're going to flip the table. You're going to be the problem, the rebel. And sometimes maybe the questions we ask is they don't understand and may not know the answer, or they don't want to admit the actual answer because for some reason they determine that'll make them look silly, make them look stupid, and therefore instead of owning up to it, taking responsibility for it, I'm going to make you look like the rebel rouser, the troublemaker, right? That's why I call it in engineering. My title in the engineering company is CTM, the chief troublemaker. Mainly it's because every time I talk to clients, I came back and made trouble for the team because I got more work. But at the same time, is when I don't understand things, I question and ask, just like Kathy Colby does. She just wants understanding, and we just don't accept no, or a silly, stupid answer that insults my intelligence. They just, you don't know enough to know to ask that question. Therefore, you accept because I'm better. I can't. I'm going to keep going. Now, I'm not belligerent. I'll get belligerent when the other person gets belligerent, but I just want to understand and know. That's it. And a lot of entrepreneurs, we get labeled the rebel, the troublemaker, because we're just wanting a better understanding, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, how you deliver the message and how you ask the questions, there might be a challenge or a problem there. But if you're just simply asking simple questions and the other people are getting upset and they're starting to accuse you of being a problem, it's about them. It's not about us. And the last thing I want to comment on with the conversation with Kathy, which kind of, I know there's a thread between what I just said and this, but I'll figure it out in a couple of days. But she said there's a difference between there's a difference between creating solutions and knowing the answer. And I love that. Knowing the answer just means you're really good at memorization, but you don't understand it. I can memorize 2 + 2 is 4. Probably a bad example, but I do know that if I can't, the examples coming to me is not really good right now, but I do, any trivia, we know the answer, but we don't understand it. That's just knowing the answer, a piece of knowledge, but it has nothing to do with applying it to a solution, to a problem. So now, when you know the solution, that means you understand what's involved, the theories, the mechanisms to solve the problem. And a lot of that has to do because you're confident in your abilities, because you understand that you can solve the problems. Just knowing the answers does not solve problems. You need to understand it and be confident in your abilities, because just because you know the answers doesn't mean you know how to do it. And that was her point. And a lot of times, even as entrepreneurs, I know this is a big challenge for me in the engineering field. I may not know the intricacies, this scenario, this 100 decimal place, and how to come to the number to prove if that size of beam works. I just understand the whole theory of structural dynamics, the structural analysis, how the forces behave and run down. I understand how that works. I can solve any problem. But a lot of the engineers that just knows the answer, that this beam can do this, this, this. But when it comes into a complex 3D scenario, they have a hard time. And I'm trying to demonstrate the difference between understanding to solve this problem and just knowing the answers. I know that steel is this strong. I know that aluminum is this strong. But since I understand that when I use steel and aluminum together in a certain shape or context or structure, we have these different dynamics. I hope that helps. But for me I think as ADHD entrepreneurs, we're always going to be labeled a rebel rouser, a troublemaker, or someone that just doesn't want to fit in. That last one, I really don't care. I don't want to fit in. I never want to fit in. Conformity is disastrous. That's a different episode. But in the end, I think a lot of us, it's a thirst for knowledge. It's a thirst for understanding. And we get in trouble with that because of the other people not comfortable with their abilities, not comfortable with their lack of knowledge. And, in the end, if they're going to call us rebels, and they're starting going to call us troublemakers because we just want to understand more how things work, so be it. I'm a troublemaker. I'm a rebel, whatever. But my friends, the people I like to work with and like to hang around with me, they love me for that. And that's all that matters.